It's now time for Thankful Thursdays, a platform designed for your growth and personal development. Thankful Thursdays is sponsored by Ionia Distributors LLC, where you can get motivational t shirts and Fionia Salmon's biography. It will be long, but not forever. Now, here's your host, Fionia Salmon.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Thankful Thursdays. I am your host, Fionia Salmon. A warm welcome to viewers on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if this is your first time here, Thankful Thursdays is a platform which provides useful life tips and advice from entrepreneurs and professionals across various disciplines. Today, we welcome Miss Simone Walker as a distinguished force in the world of marketing and event planning. With over 15 years of dynamic experience in the financial services sector, Simone is also known for her innovative approach and has mastered the art of marketing and communication while developing strategies in digital marketing, public relations, brand positioning, and retail banking. Today, she's breaking down exactly how you can build your brand while honoring your 9 to 5. And while doing that, it's not disloyal, it's just a strategy. Before we dive into the discussion, Thankful Thursdays is sponsored by Ionia Distributors LLC, the company that distributes my stainless steel barware sets, my motivational t shirts that I'm actually wearing. It comes in different colors, red, blue, whatever color that you're looking for, I do have it. My tote bags, my pens, my mugs, and please go ahead and support me by getting a copy of my book. It will be long, but not forever. And if you already subscribed to my YouTube channel, again, thank you so much. And if you haven't subscribed, please, I'm asking you, go ahead and share my content wide and far with your friends and family. Now, let's focus on our guest, Simone Walker. Welcome to Thankful Thursdays.
Thanks for having me, Fiona. It's great to be here. And I'm really thankful for the opportunity as well. Always grateful for any time I can have a good discussion about personal branding. So happy to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you. On the last episode of Motivational Mondays, we also have a podcast called Motivational Mondays. And last Monday that just went, we had HR resource specialist, Miss Natasha, right? And she shared with us what HR looks for when they're hiring in the 9 to 5 space. But today I want us to look at is building your personal brand outside of your company. Is it a right thing or a wrong thing to do? So let's start with the idea that our job titles don't define us. Miss Mon, why is it important to develop an identity outside of the company we work for?
That's a great question to start with. The important thing for me in terms of developing an identity outside of the company that you work for is that you always own your identity, right? Your identity is something that you take with you to any job title that you go to. So, for example, if you look at somebody's resume, they would have had several different positions, but guess what? They are the same person. Their values, how they show up, would be consistent across all of their job titles. And that personal brand, once you have built that, no company can take that from you because you have now invested time, equity, sweat in terms of
Mhm.
building that identity that you want to be known for outside of a specific job role or title.
Wow, that's powerful. So powerful. I like the fact that you said wherever you go, you'll have that with you. And there's been a shift where people no longer chase just a job security. They want career security. Just talk us through what's the difference of job security versus career security.
All right. So job security used to be where somebody was very much focused on how can I safeguard my job at this particular company. And there was this dream. I wanted to be here for 25 years, 30 years, 40 years. That no longer exists. That has been thrown through the window. What we are seeing now is persons are looking at how can I safeguard my career by
Mm,
building my skills up, ensuring that people know me, I am visible in the spaces that I want to be known for, so that if it is that an opportunity arises, people are already aware of my skill sets, my track record in a particular industry. I'm not sure if you're seeing a trend on LinkedIn in particular, where once upon a time, persons used to always make sure that their title appeared right under their profile picture. That's no longer
yes,
the case.
that's
Everybody's positioning themselves as I assist SMEs to further their brand. I help people to make more money. I help people to be
true.
more visible. So the focus now is on how you as a professional show up to help your clients. And it's less about, oh, I'm a VP at a bank. This is what I do, because you're not limited by your title, right? You could be at the VP at a bank, and you could also be the chair of an NGO at the very same time. They're all mutually exclusive. And I think, this is a new trend, and everybody's embracing that now, that listen, I can wear multiple hats if I choose to and still show up as my authentic self and still be that professional that I'm known to be.
Wow. Let's look ahead on leverage. Leverage is such a powerful word. How does building one's brand give them or give people more power over their careers?
You know what, Fiona? One of the things I was thinking about when you're asking that question is that people want to take back that power in their career, right? And
Yes.
so you do not want to be, and I mean, I don't mean this in any negative way at all.
Yes.
You don't want the company to have control over your career and your career trajectory. You want to have that control, right? And the way to do that is to ensure that you have mastered the art of building your personal brand so well that even outside of your company, you are well known in your particular field or your area. For me, it was about networking with my peers. And so even when I was in the financial, world, I never saw my competitors as competitors. I saw them as my peers.
Mm,
What would happen is if somebody was leaving a job, they would call me because they would know me in the industry and they would
mm,
know me for my track record. And so you always want to show up as best as you possibly can. Make sure that you're armed with all of the skill sets that you need, and make sure that your personal brand is aligned with where you want to go next. Because so you have to be very intentional about the way you show up. So if it is that you say to yourself, look, if I'm not already a senior leader or an executive and that's what I'm going after, what are some of the things that I need to do to show up in that space and also to show up among those persons who would want to consider me for a role? A lot of persons get headhunted for roles because they show up,
that's
right?
right.
Either that, they're on social media, they're sharing
Mm,
content about what they do, they're educating their audience, they're showcasing their expertise, they're networking well, they're in the right spaces, and they're being very intentional about who it is that they're collaborating with. So there's so many ways that you can really safeguard your career, but you have to own it. It has to come from you.
wow. It sounds like it's okay to have a side hustle or explore your passion. It's okay, and also trying to balance and create that leverage that even though the as you mentioned, the company might think that they own you, but they don't really own you because you already have an exit plan waiting to to surface. So, on that note, you're tuned into Thankful Thursdays. I am your host, Fionia Salmon, and today's guest is Simone. She's here to provide us with insights on building personal brand outside of your company. Is it the right thing to do or not? So, Thankful Thursdays is sponsored by Ionia Distributors LLC, the company that distributes my stainless steel barware sets, my motivational t-shirts that I'm actually wearing, my stainless, which is right here, my mug, and also my book. It will be long, but not forever. Please get a copy. It's available on Amazon for purchase and wherever you scroll. So if you scroll on Facebook, it's available there. If you scroll on Instagram, it's available for purchase there. So there's no reason for you not to get one of my items. Okay. Thank you so much in advance for your support. And also, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, that is Fionia and Friends, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And if you already subscribed to my channel, please share it wide and far, my content. I really, really appreciate you guys for showing up week after week to listen to my content and also to share my content. I appreciate it. Now let's get back into the discussion with Simone. There is this myth that building your brand means you're disloyal to your company. But the truth is, would it benefit the company or the employer in the long run?
Absolutely, it does benefit the employer in the long run. So I think now there may be a more of an appreciation for professionals building their brand, because in building that brand, whenever a professional steps out and represents a company, they're easily recognized, easily identified, for their expertise, for their track record and what they're contributing in that space. So I think it's complementary. And I think now with the prevalence of social media, a lot of companies are very supportive of persons really building a personal brand. I remember when I had to write articles on behalf of, my senior managers, and I would place them, whether it is on social media, in the traditional newspapers, and it would appear as if they actually wrote those articles, but it was part
Wow.
of their brand building. And so sometimes, yes, the competitor might see somebody and they're out there and they may want to poach them. That may also happen. But the truth of the matter is, in terms of customers will see them and easily identify them, and it builds that trust factor, because this is somebody now that's always out there, that's in the public, that people know and they like and they trust them. And guess what? They want to do more business with them.
What do professionals need to be aware of or watch out for when they're building their brands outside of their 9 to 5 job, especially conflict of interest or maybe competitors seeing them and maybe want to work with them? What are some of the things that they need to pay attention to when they're positioning themselves to align themselves with other brands out there?
I think everything starts first with defining what your personal brand identity is, right?
Yes.
And that comes from having a set of values. So you always want to come from, that value space. And in everything you do, I think a lot of professionals want to ensure that they come from a space of integrity, respect, and trust. And so you don't necessarily, and again, this is something that you would want to think about. Who do I want to attract, to me, right?
Mhm.
Yes, it may be that as you show up, you're showing up in spaces, you're contributing, you're doing a lot of public speaking, you're on webinars, you're on various
Mhm.
discussion boards, you're in the media. And so, yes, you're building that public profile. You are showcasing your expertise, right?
That's true.
And of course, you're going to get that visibility. Customers are going to see it, and competitors alike. I don't think you can worry so much about the competitors seeing you, but once it is that your personal brand building does not impact your company in any negative manner, and you're not showing up and any kind of disrespectful way, any value that goes against the company that you represent. So I think it always has to come back to what are the values that you represent, and also again, how do you show up? So if it is that, for example, I do remember at one point in my career, I worked in a library, right? And that was never part of my plan on paper. But I was there, right? And I desperately wanted to get back into media and I wanted to get back into marketing. And so I started my side hustle, and that was after work, right? It did not conflict in terms of what I was doing in my 9 to 5, right? So I wasn't working for a competitor in my 9 to 5. So those would be some of the things that you would want not to do, clearly, right?
That's right.
So there wouldn't have been a conflict of interest, but it allowed me now to pursue my passion, the thing that really got me excited, the thing that, let me stay up at night. So in the day, I was like, okay, this is a great job, but it's not the job for me. But let me continue to honor that job. Let me continue to give off my best in that role while I am there. But at the same time, I said to myself, okay, how do I segue? How do I find a path to get into what I really wanted to do? And so the part time job opportunity, working from 6 to 9 at nights, 3 nights for the week. And yes, sometimes it was really, really hard, but because I had the passion and I had the commitment towards it, I was able to balance both. And as I said, there were no clashes because they were separate industries. It wasn't like I was taking information from one company and taking it to the next. Again, all of it has to come back to your integrity and values and respecting yourself as well.
Wow, powerful. You mentioned that striking that balance is very important, but how do people strike that balance and not not performing at work at the same time? How can they strike that balance as how you did?
It comes down to priorities and really just managing your time well. So for example, if your 9 to 5 is a 9 to 5, honor that time. Make sure that you show up and you do exactly what you're supposed to do in those hours. What him say, give to Caesar what is due to Caesar.
That's
Right.
right.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what you do. And
Yes.
then no, you work on a passion project, whether it is on the weekend. Listen, I have a 5 a.m. club that I'm a part of, right? And
Yes.
I get up sometimes at 4 o'clock, okay? And I start working. So if it is you have a passion project, you start working from 4, right? And when your 9 to 5 chips in, you start working for your 9 to 5 at 9, okay? And then there's from 5 onwards, you have the whole night to do everything you want to do. You have your weekend, right? So at the end of the day, your 9 to 5 should not be suffering. They should be saying, but look here, you take up your passion project, no, and care for my time, right? We don't want that, right? And that would not be, something you want to do as well. And that is going to cause problems. If you want problem, don't do that. I would not advise anybody to do anything like that. As I said, we operate from a space of integrity in terms of what it is that we are here to do. We deliver on that. So if you don't have the right productivity tools, get them. If you don't have time
Mhm.
management skills, go and learn it. If you need an
That's
accountability
right.
partner, get one. If you need a mentor, get one as well to teach you how to do it. It can be done. I have done it. I remember even when I was at university, I also had a part-time job as well. And I had
Wow.
a part-time job in the evening as well. And I was able to balance going to school and having that job and making sure that everybody, got their fair share, right? So again, it's all about that time management and making sure you hold on all the different areas of your life, whether the personal, the professional, the passion, and making sure everybody is served. Because in that mix, if you have a family, you're gonna have to honor your family as well,
That's so true.
right?
That's so
So
true.
it even gets further complicated when you're doing all of that, right? But the intention is to make sure that nobody is suffering and just making sure that you make use of your time. Because I want to tell you, a lot of times people say, "Oh, I am so busy."
Mm-hmm.
They're not busy.
But
I'm
you
here to
said it's the
tell you.
time.
I am here to tell you, you're not busy. You're not utilizing your time well. Once you put on that phone, Fiona, I know that
Mhm.
a lot of us waste a lot of time, right? 6, 7 hours pass. If you check your phone on a daily basis and say, how much hours
True.
you
True.
end up scrolling, you end up in a some matrix
True.
you never planned to end up into. And if you had used that time wisely and said, okay, chat GPT,
Mm-hmm.
give me a master plan on how I'm going to build up my business.
Mm-hmm.
Assign yourself as my mentor. Give me tasks to do on a daily basis. And I want to hit X amount of goals on a monthly basis, right? What are the things that I should be doing to build up my side hustle? I'm telling you, you would see amazing, amazing results,
Wow.
right?
Wow. So, Simone, you're saying stay on top of it before it gets on top of you,
Yeah,
basically.
basically.
Basically. So, if someone is launching a side business or freelancing business, when should they disclose that to their employer or to HR? At what point?
That's a good question. And different, every scenario is going to be different. I
Mm-hmm.
think the right answer is that you should look at your particular situation and determine what's the right time. There are some organizations that embrace you having a side hustle. I've actually worked with an organization who says, look, we embrace a total employee. We embrace the fact that, listen, if you have a side business, you have a side hustle, they even had like a day for it. So everybody who has a side hustle, come this day and showcase your business, right?
Oh,
So from day one, you are encouraged to declare, this is what I am doing, right? And so you have to look into yourself and say, okay, based on my company, based on their appetite, okay, this may not be the right time to say I am doing X, Y, and Z, but you can, seek counsel, talk to
mm,
HR, talk to that HR business partner and say, look, I'm going to be embarking on doing X, Y, and Z. Do you think it's the right time? What do you think is the appetite? Just get a sense of what that temperature check would be, because it really does depend. But I want to say that based on what I've seen in the last 5 years, the trend has been a lot more positive, and people have been a lot more embracing. I think it's will come down to, is it going to take away time from the 9 to 5? Is it going to be a distraction? All of
mhm.
those things are going to be, factors that are going to definitely impinge on what that would look like for, any particular situation.
And what if we don't disclose that information to HR? What you think would happen to that employee?
Again, I don't think it's as threatening as it sounds, Fiona. I think that if it is, for example, I am writing a book. The book is about my life story. I choose not to disclose it to HR until I decide that I'm going to publish it, because at that point it's going to become public, all right?
That's right.
There is nothing that I'm doing that impinges on the time that I'm at work. It doesn't take away from my productivity. I'm not, I'm just not I'm there still performing at my best. I think you have to determine, okay,
Mhm.
upon launch, this is going to become public. It would be just a courtesy for me to say, look, guys, I have been working on this book for X amount of time. I'm going to have a launch. I'm letting you know this is what I'm doing. Again, you have to look at the relationship
That's
that you have with your clients, your colleagues. Because again, I mean, you might be sitting beside somebody, that person may be very close to you.
yes.
So them see a flash on CNN. Oh, Fiona has this big book that she has launched. And you say, but then Fiona, and me would tell me, say, every day me and you drink tea and coffee, and you couldn't even say this to me. Come on, girl. Right? But again, at the same time, you may say to yourself, you know what? I'm not sure about these people that I work with. Maybe I need to
Mm,
test after I launch a book.
mm.
You have to determine what that looks like, because only you can determine if it is the right time to do so.
Since we're on disclosure, do you say that personal branding is like a professional disguise?
No, I don't like the term disguise, because it feel like you're wearing a mask, right? Because the personal branding says, look, I am showing up as my true, authentic self. This is who I
Mm,
really am, because this is beyond me as this person and a title only in this company. My personal brand represents my values, right? It says, this is the person I am. I am a professional. I made this contribution. This is my audience. I am there for them. And this is all facets of me. Your personal brand has no limits. So, whereas a title may be limiting, and for example, if you say, hey, I'm a real estate agent at a particular company, your personal brand will say, yes, I'm a real estate agent, but hey, I'm also a musician. I'm
mhm.
also an artist. I'm also somebody who loves to travel. I'm also somebody who loves content creation. I'm a mother, I'm a wife. I am so many different things. There are so many facets to me, and I want to show up in all of these spaces,
Oh,
all of
wow.
these God-given talents. I want people to know this is me, right? So there's no limit on it, and that's what I love about personal branding. It is who you decide who you want to be, and there are no limits to it.
On that note, thank you so much for your transparency. Motivational Mondays is sponsored by Ionia Distributors LLC, the company that distributes my stainless steel barware sets, also my motivational t-shirts, pens, also my tote bags and my coffee mug. I have it right here. And also my book. It will be long but not forever. Just support me by just getting one of those items that I just listed. Please, I beg you. Please support your girl. Let's get back into the discussion with Simone. Simone, is there is there anything else that you'd like to share with us, or where can people connect with you to
All
keep learning from you?
So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's my go-to platform, social media platform in terms of connecting with other professionals. There you can DM me, send me a message. You can follow me. I'll follow you back as well. And that's where I share content in terms of what I do.
Oh,
I think for me, in terms of personal branding, it's really just making sure that you have a roadmap to where you want to take yourself. You have to have a vision in your head. So Fiona is this great author. She's also an entrepreneur. There's so many different things that I don't even know about Fiona today. And if you start out by saying, here's where I want to go, build
yeah.
that roadmap and get there. So if it is, I say, set a goal for myself. For example, if I say I want to be the next ambassador to Africa, for instance, then I'm going to have to start working backwards. Who are the people that I need to talk to? What are the things that I need to be doing? How do I now go and make a representation of myself in these spaces that I can be considered for this kind of position, right? So it's all of those different things I have to put on paper, and then I have to put action behind it, right?
Mhm.
Do I need a mentor? Do I need somebody to coach me through this? So it's a number of different steps, and it's about being so intentional about every single move that you make. So you can't just get up one morning and just say, you know what, I want to be Beyonce, and you're just gonna lay it on your back and say, okay, Beyonce will come because I just need to put on the hair and I become Beyonce. You not gonna become Beyonce like that.
That's right.
First of all, you're gonna have to learn to sing, you're gonna have to learn to dance. You're gonna have to get that management team behind you,
That's right.
right? The amount of steps, okay? The amount of steps that you're going to have to take to get to her legacy and what she has done, and the amount of years. So it requires that amount of intentionality. It
Hmm.
requires that you're going to show up for yourself, right? So you can't just be kind of lazy if you're about it. There's no way you're going to get there. When we sit back and we look at influencers, we say, oh, them something only for them people, because they're an extrovert. No, I'm an introvert, right? But I am aware of the power of personal branding. Personal
Hmm.
branding can get you into that next job that you're looking for. It can get you into that next opportunity. It can get you into that next business conversation, into that next room to do whatever it is that you're looking to do, right?
That's right. That's right.
For me, it's not even an option. No,
Mhm.
you don't have an option to say, well, I don't want to build my personal brand because I have too much work. Well, don't build just say, well, right? Because if you want to safeguard your career, it is the thing that you must do. It is mandatory for you to really show up and show your value to the rest of the world.
Boy, Simone, that is a lot. You just unpacked a lot. Is there anything else you want to unpack on us while we're here?
I would just say, just be also kind to yourself along the personal branding journey.
Mhm.
And because it's a journey, it takes time to get to that point, right? So again, we're going to use the examples of the mega brands that we see out there and the things that they are doing and why it is that they're able to get these big brand deals. and you say to yourself, so why I can't land that job? Why I can't get a big deal like that? Why somebody wouldn't call on me? Because
That's
you
right.
haven't shown them your value. You
Mm.
haven't said to the world, I
Right.
am also as valuable as that other brand out there. Okay. So, but be patient with yourself and take the steps that you need to take. And don't think you need to go it alone. Collaborate with other people, find
Mm.
them in different spaces, and also give back as much as you get. One of the things I love to talk about is that favor bank. Sometimes, when people are networking and they come up and they network in a very selfish way, oh, let me see what I can get out of this person. That's the wrong
That's
way to do it. The way to do it is, how can I contribute to this particular person? What can I add? What can I share?
value.
What can I contribute? You
That's
give
right.
the value, and the value will come back to you even when you least expect it. Right? So that's one of the things I would say, definitely do. Just make sure that you network with that intentionality of sharing. And that is so, it's so powerful. It's one of the things that you can do that can leverage your personal brand as well.
Thank you so much for sharing. Is there any project that you're actually working on right now that you want to talk about?
Well, the one project that I'm working on that I really am passionate about and I want to talk about is our skate summer school. So we're
Mm.
actually in the third day of the summer school. So it ends on Friday. And skate stands for Summer Adventures, with technology and education. And it's a summer camp that's geared towards teens, 13 to 18-year old. And this year, our camp is focused on sustainable engineering. So we're talking about climate change, we're talking about rainwater harvesting, we're talking about carbon footprint, we're just talking about all the different things that we want to empower our young people with in terms of about learning about the environment. How is it that we can build smarter communities, sustainable communities, and adopt really good habits? And it has been going well so far. The teens have been pretty excited. They've been doing a lot of hands-on. They've been pulling apart solar fans. They've been
Wow.
building models of little smart cities and communities. So it has been really, really good. I mean, there was one day I was there teaching them about climate change, carbon footprint, how
Mhm.
can we calculate stuff like that. And then, for us, it's important that we're building leaders of tomorrow. And one of the things I encourage them is that you have the power now to come up with a great idea, a great solution that can help us to, better our communities, better our environment. You don't have to wait until you go to college. You don't have to wait until you're an older adult like myself. You can do
Mhm.
it now because you have all the tools, you have all the resources. There's AI. If you have an idea, you can just map that out, you can build it out. So we're encouraging them to think big, to be change makers, and they can do it today, starting right now, because they don't need permission. Because guess what? We're living in the information age. Nothing is being gate kept anymore, right? You are as powerful as the tools that you use around you.
Thank you. I was scrolling through social media today and I saw one of the projects. It was a solar fan that
Yes.
they developed, and I was like saying to myself, "How comes I didn't thought of that? Like, oh, that is so
Well, there's
innovative."
a little correction because they didn't develop, but what they did was they were learning about the component parts of pulling it apart, putting it back
Yes.
together, and just how it would work.
Oh,
And so that would help them know if it is that they had a similar type of idea, they
yes.
would know how to go about it, because now they know exactly what are the parts that are involved and how it actually works. But they were super excited to actually work on it as well.
I saw it on social media and I was so excited for the whole idea of the kids working together to put it together. So that's so exciting. And what's next for you, Simone? What's next? Like another 5 years in personal branding? Are you venturing out in maybe doing more digital products? What's next for you?
That's a great question, Fiona. Digital products is definitely one of the things I want to venture out into. And there are different projects that still focus on youth. For me, youth development is a big, big passion of mine. One of the things I'm really, really gunning for is really how can we build, bigger spaces for business development training for young. people. So, for example, teens, I want them to see themselves as business people from now, right?
Mhm.
I know we're going to push our kids to say, look, we want you to get a good job. And that's great. That's also okay. But I want to say to them, you can build a legacy for yourself. So if it is that you say to yourself, look, nobody has built a particular solar machine, a solar washing machine, for instance. You may say to yourself, that's something I want to invent, something that I want to create. Okay, so apart from getting the patent, what are the things that I need to do? Do I need to register this business? What are the different steps that I need to take? Am I financially literate enough to start a business? And I think those conversations are had too late. I think what we need to do is to empower our young people to be able to see themselves, right, charting their future and being business persons from
Mhm.
now. And that's something I'm really, really passionate for. And I really want to see how that's something I can create digital products for, possibly an NGO around that. But I think that's a big thing. I think we can really transform Jamaica, transform community,
Mhm.
just transform the entire world by ensuring that, they also have an active part to play in their economy too.
Thank you so much. And just go ahead and remind the viewers or listeners where they can find you on social media.
Sure. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Simone Walker. Just type in my name, hit that follow button, that connect button, and let's connect and talk about projects, ideas. You can also find my company on IG, Instagram. That's Brand House, and it's spelled Brand HOWHZ. So the spelling is a little different. So let me repeat that again: Brand House, HOWHZ. So that's where you can find me as well. So I'm really looking forward to connecting and talking about branding, marketing, strategy, youth
Mm.
development, empowerment as well.
What an incredible interview or conversation, Simone. Thank you so much for your transparency, your wisdom, and for sharing real life shift that may lead to just ignore or people afraid of venturing out. To our listeners, I hope today's episode expanded your perspective on how to build your personal brand outside of your traditional 9 to 5. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, that's Fiona and Friends. And be sure to get a barware set, a motivational t shirt, a tote bag, a pen, or my book. It will be long, but not forever. This is where we close Thankful Thursdays. Thank you for tuning in again. Remember, we are on every second and fourth Thursday in the month at 7 p.m. Eastern Time and 6 p.m. Jamaica time. So don't forget to tell your family and your friends the time. In the meantime, I'll be back on July 24th with more Thankful Thursdays. Watch all my social media pages to see who the next guest will be. Until then, I am your host, Fiona Salmon. Have a great one.